100 years ago, on the banks of the Sugar River in western New Hampshire, the bustling city of Claremont offered the best of both country and city living. A quiet place among rolling hillsides, with good jobs and solid homes, plenty of shops with local and imported goods, a beautiful opera house, and fresh food from surrounding farms. Today, Claremont is on track to return to its former luster. Those who discover it first will be the lucky ones. In 1762, Moses Spafford and David Lind of Connecticut were the first settlers to realize the full potential of this place. Falling water, tillable land, and access to trade routes were all here. These men were fortunate to be granted land highly favored by the royal governor.
Back in 1740 or 1750, Governor Benning Wentworth took 200 acres of northern Charlestown, southern Claremont, northern Springfield, Vermont, and Wethersfield, Vermont, and had what he called the Governor's Farm. And that was the finest land in New Hampshire, Vermont at that time.
Early mills, sawmills and grist mills, built along the Sugar River, took advantage of the river's 250-foot drop on its sweep through Claremont. Hillsides were cleared. Sheep farming was a natural fit. With water power and wool plentiful, Claremont farmers and millers were well positioned to ride the wave of the so-called merino craze of the early 1800s. The city's role as a textile producer was established. A major thoroughfare of its day, the Second New Hampshire Turnpike opened in 1802, running from Claremont to Amherst and beyond, putting Claremont on the map, both as an accessible source of quality goods and as an exceptional place to live and work. By the mid-1830s, both the upper village and lower village of Claremont were developing, somewhat competitively. To ensure the prominence of the upper village, a group of investors built a large modern mill near the present Opera House Square. Known as Monadnock Mill No. 1, now the State Office Building, it opened in 1841 as a cotton textile mill. For the next 90 years, Claremont would grow as a manufacturing city. Construction of mills No. 2 and 3 followed to accommodate the boom in cotton textile manufacturing that was sweeping New England. As the textile business flourished through the mid-1800s, so did the city. Parks, farms, and a busy commercial center coexisted happily. Residents could work, shop, and find entertainment all within an easy walk. It was a vibrant small city. In 1872, jacquard looms were installed to produce highly decorative Marseille and Madalesque cloth. These superbly detailed tablecloths, bedspreads, and napkins from Monadnock Mills were treasured in homes across the country. The mills were busy, and there were jobs aplenty. In the 25 years following 1880, the city population nearly doubled. The Fisk Free Library, the Claremont Hotel, the Hunton Blocks, and the pride of Claremont, the Opera House, were all built during these boom years. With its oak-trimmed lobby, elaborate decoration, and superb acoustics, this architectural landmark made Claremont the cultural center for the region. Textile manufacturing throughout New England declined after World War I. Competition from the South and relatively high transportation costs contributed to the end of textile production in Claremont. Monadnock Mills closed in 1932. The mills were not altogether abandoned after the textile business left. Pearl Wainshaw remembers how she and her husband came to be mill owners.
At first we used the mill for storage, but then we decided to buy it.
Business was good. Phil and Pearl Wainshaw sold quality furniture with casual terms.
My husband would say, well, if you want, you can just pay it by the week or even by the month. Well, we were very gracious. It was that type of a place. That's why they liked to shop there.
The 50s and 60s saw other businesses thrive in Claremont. Mrs. Wainshaw remembers a typical shopping night.
It was a boom town, and Friday nights, I mean, you couldn't get across this Elm Street. Oh yeah, people would come from Hanover, New Hampshire to shop on Water Street. And the stores were open late because there were a lot of customers coming in, and then they would use other places like to eat and things like that when things were booming. And it was one of those towns where there was a lot going on.
After the Wayneshalls closed their business, the mills were mostly unoccupied for years. As in many American cities, the bustling downtown became a thing of the past. The last mill to see manufacturing was Woven Label, which closed in the early 1980s. Over the ensuing years, the mills had few tenants, and maintenance flagged. These were the darkest years for the Monadnock Mills. Fortunately, though the buildings were out of use and subject to the ravages of time and weather, they were acquired by the city and buttoned up with an eye toward future renovation. Over the intervening years, individual developers came forward, but a successful redevelopment plan for the mills never materialized. At times, the challenge of finding a way to renovate all three mills at once seemed insurmountable. Then, a positive turn followed requests for developers issued by the city in 2004. An early respondent was John Illick of the Rearc Company of South Burlington, Vermont, who was interested in the Peterson Mill.
I think it's safe to say that the buildings themselves were the main attraction. Terrifically beautiful pieces of architecture, obviously underutilized for the last 20, 30, 40 years, in a beautiful setting. You know, the river district or the mill district on the Sugar River in Claremont is a spectacularly beautiful setting in a beautiful geography. And the buildings are screaming for somebody to, give them a little tender loving care.
Next to express interest in the mills was Alex Ray, founder and president of the Common Man group of restaurants, who had come to Claremont to look at some other buildings, but he found them uninteresting.
But I hung around town myself and fell in love with the mills on the river. So I found that afternoon I went over to the planning board, met the people that are in business development and planning, and they also were amazingly positive. So between those two things, I said, I'm coming back.
We got a call from Alex Ray, who had done a wonderful market study. He'd come into Claremont unknown a week before and gone out and down the street and just asked people what they'd like to see in a new restaurant in Claremont, or if they thought they needed one.
The results of that impromptu survey were clear. Alex was convinced that Claremont was ready for a new full-service restaurant with conference facilities, and that the Woven Label Mill was the place. Still unaccounted for was the mill with the greatest renovation challenges, Mill number 2, the Wayneshall. Alex's enthusiasm was infectious. He approached his friend and business partner, Rusty McClear.
He came back from there one day and said, boy, I've just come through Claremont. They've got a project going over there, some great old mills. Let's go take a look. I was probably less enthusiastic than he was at that point, but he was right in his enthusiasm, and we're looking forward to a very exciting project.
Rusty and Alex envisioned an inn and spa using part of the Wayneshall Mill, but the building still needed another partner.
So we thought it would come last, and it would maybe come as a third kind of very separate project sometime in the future. And then lo and behold, Red River Computer Company looking for new expanded space, and all of a sudden that building is kind of the centerpiece of the project.
It was going a different direction before we got there. It was going to be a very slow process. But when Anthony Lyons and Nancy Merrill and Guy Santagate started pulling in other companies to move there, all of a sudden it became obvious that this could be a development of 3 mills and a wonderful partnership, and the city has embraced the idea.
When the city brought the interested parties together, everyone found an abundance of common ground.
None of the partners knew any of the others. I mean, they were all new to each other. They were all new to the city. And personalities, their business sense, their business ethics, their ideas about historic buildings. It's really been almost magical that it's clicked. The team has clicked as well as it had.
The differences between the developers who showed up in this last round that we chose and early on was that these people have experience at development. They have got the wherewithal and the resources to get the development done successfully.
The concept of mixed use for the three mills was agreed upon.
If it were strictly a series of office spaces at 5 or 6 o'clock at night, the streets could be empty. So having people live down there, work down there, socialize down there, restaurant and other forms of entertainment, I think is really necessary to have a true revitalized downtown.
Each member moved ahead with their plans. Red River Computer had specific goals in their search for a corporate headquarters.
We wanted to be in a downtown area, shops, restaurants, the excitement of being close to a downtown area. That limited us in the Upper Valley, as you can tell. We wanted to have a corporate office that was conducive to a great work environment, similar to what we have now. And the third factor was that we wanted to have space to grow.
Their plans for Class A offices in the Wayneshaw Mill answer those criteria perfectly. Alex expresses the enthusiasm shared by the whole team.
The best thing that ever happened in Claremont is nothing, because it's got its heritage and beautiful buildings. So that's good news, not bad news. So what do I have? 3 things: beautiful old buildings, unspoiled, the only town I know of with 2 parallel main streets. I think it's just exciting. Not ruined by urban renewal, positive governance. The city had protected these buildings, and it's right in the Upper Valley, and in a great state, in 91. And so we moved forward and said, let's do a restaurant.
Grab a hard hat. Water Street is about to become very busy. The historic landmark mills will be cleaned, rubble removed, windows replaced, sidewalks installed, streetlights placed and lit for the first time. The Mill District will again join Claremont as an integral part of the city center. The construction plan is intricate.
Getting the timing to work out well, where a restaurant, an inn, Red River's business function, to align at the same time along with the city's development needs has been very complex.
But the good news is that the work is starting now and will be completed sooner than seems possible.
So about a 12-month period. And that 12-month period will be a very intensive period of construction. A lot of people working on these buildings and all at one time. So
Most of the work is behind us because it was such a big project. It took bonding, infrastructure, financing, and that's all done as we speak today. So now we're ready to start digging in this. We have our architectural plan. Everybody has their engineering done. We're ready to roll. It'll open next summer. That's our plan.
Visualizing the completed structures takes some imagination at this point. With some help from conceptual art, here's what to expect.
These loft units will have, in the open living areas, will have 12, 14-foot ceiling heights. They'll have exposed timber. They'll have windows that are 10 feet tall. Just beautiful monumental windows, wood floors, exposed brick. You'll have views of Mount Ascutney. You'll have views of the city of Claremont. You'll have views of the Sugar River. You'll live in a really pretty environment. For those who like that lifestyle of low-maintenance urban living, it will be as gracious and charming as you can imagine.
Red River will occupy the 4th and 5th floors of the Wayneshaw Mill.
The 4th floor will be the main area for accounting and technical staff and infrastructure. The 5th floor will actually be the main entrance for the corporate headquarters. It'll be a very elegant entrance. The sales floor will be on the 5th floor. And we'll have our corporate conference room there that will have company functions and manufacturer-type executive briefings. All floors have phenomenal views up the river, Sugar River, and down the Sugar River Valley. It's a rushing river that comes through. It comes right underneath the building, and it's just a spectacular view.
Office space on the 3rd and 6th floors will be available from Sugar River Mills redevelopment.
The restaurant is 2 high floors with a function room for meetings and a lounge for people, outside deck patio, probably not in the winter, but the roaring river going by, and 20-foot ceilings, massive columns that are 14 by 14. It's just beautiful. You'll enter in between floors. You have that visual of looking over that lower floor that's 100 feet long and 60 feet wide. Structurally, the building is fit as a fiddle, sound as anything. We're putting a whole new roof structure on it. It's going to be a nice modified hip roof that duplicates a couple of the old buildings that are right around it. So it'll be good looking.
There is a mill driver, stream, if you will, that runs through and under the building. We're going to allow that to free flow through the building. There'll be a little bridge and the river will be running through the restaurant.
And of course, complementing the restored mills is the city itself, a dense European design downtown surrounded by 35 square miles of rolling countryside and river valley farmland.
Because it's not a giant city, you develop a lot of personal relationships with people that you really like. One of the problems with a small city is you don't have some of the things that you can get in a bigger city. As an example, you may not have the same football program. We've got that. You may not have this nice elaborate track, which is important for the school system. We've got that. There's a lot of infrastructure here that you don't usually find in a city of about 13,000 people, and people are very surprised when they come here and they see the infrastructure.
Claremont has its own municipal airport, golf course, and ski area. Recreational options include a health club, hiking and biking trails, a boat landing on the Connecticut, and within a half hour are Okemo Mountain Resort, Mount Sunapee, a Scottney Mountain Resort, and Lake Sunapee itself. There are excellent educational facilities, including River Valley Community College and Granite State College. Located halfway between New York and Montreal, accessibility is easy via Interstate 91 and daily Amtrak service. Valley Regional Hospital in Claremont is a member of the Dartmouth-Hitchcock Alliance, and professional fire, rescue, and police departments serve the city. A full slate of worship options as well as youth and service organizations are well established in Claremont. Dining and entertainment options are expanding downtown. And there are many well-built, affordable homes.
It's really a spectacular geography. The views are lovely, the environment is terrific. So as a place to live, I don't know how you do much better.